Hi, it's Katie from Katie Cooks and Crafts, and today's crochet tutorial will show you how to make these Tetracuspid Hypocycloids. That's just a fancy name for these sort of star shapes. These are most commonly recognized as being from the Pittsburgh Steelers logo, and I have them in the appropriate Pittsburgh Steeler colors here. You can use these to make an emblem for an Afghan. I use these as coasters, or you could just use them as star shapes and use them as appliques or a coaster, or you can make them even larger and make them into even a dish rag or something like that. So I'm going to show you step by step how to make this. If you want to see the written pattern, I will link to it. It's on my blog. All of the links will be in the description box. And if you enjoy this crochet tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. To make this project, you can use pretty much any kind of yarn or thread that you want. Just realize that the larger your thread or your yarn and the larger your hook, the larger your finished project's going to be. So I'm going to use worsted weight yarn, and I'm going to use a size G hook. Just want to make sure whatever hook you're using matches your yarn. So if you're using a bulkier yarn, you'll need to use a larger hook. If you're using thinner yarn, you use a smaller hook, and if you're using thread, you would use a thread hook. So I'm using a size G hook. I'm also going to use this blunt tapestry needle to weave in my ends, and I have a pair of scissors to clip my threads. And I'm going to use the yellow yarn. I think it shows up better in the video. And when I wrote this pattern about 1.5 years ago, I always started my projects in the round this way. And now a lot of times I will use the magic loop or the magic ring. If you want to use the magic loop, feel free. But I'm going to do it the way that I originally wrote the pattern. Okay, so to start, I'm going to chain 3. So I'll have to put a slip knot on my hook and fasten it down like that. And I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to make my loop out of that chain 3. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to work into that first chain, and sometimes the first chain can get a little bit pulled tight and it gets really small and hard to work into, I'm going to pinch my slip knot there and just a little bit of the working yarn. And I'm going to pinch that. I'm holding it with my middle finger and my thumb. However you're holding your hand and your yarn, just whatever 2 fingers you have to pinch and hold there, just hold it the entire time you're doing your chain 3. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through for chain 1, chain 2, and chain 3. And by pinching and holding it, keeps that first chain from being pulled really small. So it's really easy to work into it. So I chain 3. Now I'm going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain from the hook. So chain 1, 2, 3. So that first chain that I did. I'm going to slip stitch into that chain to form a loop, or to form a ring. So to slip stitch, I'm going to insert my hook into that chain, yarn over, and pull the loop through the stitch and through the loop on my hook. And it forms that ring. And that's the ring we're going to work all of our stitches for the next round into. So this is round 1, sort of foundation chain. For fuzzy there. For round 2, I'm going to start by chaining 2. That will give me the correct height. And I'm going to put 12 half double crochets into this ring. So I'm going to work right into the center of the ring, and it's going to work around this chain. And to do a half double crochet, I'm going to yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. That's the first half double crochet made. Now I have to fit 11 more on this ring, so I need to pull it as close together as possible so there's enough room for all of the rest of the half double crochets. So that's the first one. I'll do another one slowly. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So that's half double crochet number 2. Again, I'm going to pull it close to the other ones. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 3. So that's half double crochet number 3. Okay, so I'm going to put 12 half double crochets all together in this ring, and I will be right back when I get that done. Okay, so I have my 11 half double crochets in. I'm going to put my 12th one, but I just want to show you You really have to pull it and compress all of these stitches together to make room for that last half double crochet. Okay, so that's 12 half double crochets. Now I'm going to join the round by slip stitching in the top of the beginning chain 2. So that's chain 1 and that's chain 2 of the beginning chain 2. So I'm just going to slip stitch into that stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop on the hook. That just joins your round. Now from here, if you pull on this beginning tail, the short tail, give it a tug, it can help tighten up that hole in the center a little bit. Okay, so that's what it looks like at the end of round 2. For round 3, I'm going to chain 2, just to give us the right height. Now in the first stitch, I'm going to put 1 half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2. Now in each of the remaining stitches all the way around, I'm going to put 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So 1 half double crochet in the very first stitch, and then in all of the remaining stitches all the way around, we're going to put 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So for the next stitch right there, I'm going to put 2. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then in that same stitch, I'm going to put a second one right in that same stitch. Okay, and I'm going to do that all the way around. So for the next stitch, put 1 half double crochet and 2 half double crochets. Whoops, 2 half double crochets. In the next stitch, we're going to put 1 half double crochet and 2 half double crochets. Okay, I'm going to go all the way around and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alright, so I've gone all the way around. I have 23 half double crochets around, and now to finish the round, I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain 1, just like I did in the previous round. That just closes up that round. So that's the end of round 3. For round 4, this is where we're going to start doing the points. There's going to be 4 points. They're going to be at north, south, east, and west. So evenly spaced around this circle. And to make the points, we're going to put clusters. So a cluster is just a bunch of stitches in the same stitch. And the cluster is going to sort of have the peak shape. So you're going to start small with single crochets, then get a little bigger with half double crochets, then a little bigger with double crochets. Then we're going to chain 1, we're going to do another double crochet, then a half double crochet, and then a single crochet. So you get that sort of peak shape. And we're going to do them all in the same stitch. So that's going to be a lot of stitches all in the same stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the stitch right before and right after the cluster, just because it's going to be so many stitches, it's going to kind of spill out both sides anyway. Okay, so to begin round 4, I'll chain 1 just to give me the height of a single crochet. Now I'm going to skip the first stitch. That would be the stitch right before the cluster. Remember I said we're going to skip right before and right after the cluster. So skip the first stitch. In the next stitch is where we're going to put the cluster. And the cluster is single crochet, half double crochet, chain, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet. So it's a lot of stitches, but we'll go through them one at a time. So this stitch right here we're skipping. This stitch right here we're going to cluster into. So the first stitch of the cluster is single crochet. To single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2. That's your single crochet made. The next stitch in the cluster is a half double crochet, which we've already done. So yarn over in the same stitch. You're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 3. In the same stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. To do a double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, so you can see how it's going up. Now I'm going to chain 1. That's going to be the very tippity tip of the point. Now we're going to come back down, so we're just going to mirror what we've already done. So we're going to do a double crochet. So we're still working in that same stitch, So double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 of the loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops on your hook. Then in that same stitch again, we're still going to do, in that same stitch, our half double crochet. And in that same stitch still, we're going to put the last stitch, which is the single crochet. Okay, so that's the beginning of our first point. We did single crochet, half double crochet, chain, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet. And we skip the stitch right before and right after. So this stitch right here, oops, my finger's blocking it. This stitch right here we're going to skip. And we're going to do the sides between the points. We're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So this stitch right here we're going to skip. In the next 3 stitches we'll put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's the first one, the second one, and the third one. Okay, so that's our first point and our first side. Now we have to repeat that 3 more times, so I'll do 1 more to show you. I'm going to go a little bit faster. If you need me to go slower, I would reverse the video and start this point again. So let me just review what we did. We started here, we skipped a stitch, then we clustered, and the cluster was single crochet, half double crochet, chain, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet. That's your cluster. Then we skipped a stitch, then we put 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we have to do the same thing for the next stitch, or for the next point. So we're going to skip a stitch and then cluster. So skip a stitch, and then this stitch cluster. And the cluster is single crochet, a half double crochet, chain, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, all in the same stitch. Then we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next 3 stitches we'll put 1 single crochet in each stitch. Okay, and that's point number 2. So point number 1, point number 2, side number 1, side number 2. So now I need to do point number 3, side number 3, point number 4, and side number 4. And they're going to be just the same. So I will finish those up and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I finished my point 3 and point 4 and side 3 and side 4. And now all I need to do is to finish up this round. I'm going to slip stitch to join the round. I'm going to slip stitch in that beginning chain 1. So the first chain 1 that I did in this round. So slip stitch to sort of complete that round. Now from here you could stop if this is the size that you wanted. It's kind of small, but if you wanted it this small you could stop here. The shape's not perfectly defined, but if you wanted to sort of moosh it with your fingers, you could kind of manipulate it into a little bit of a better shape, a little bit pointier and a little bit swoopier here. And then if you were going to sew this on another project, like on an Afghan or something, then I would just recommend to sew it with small stitches and a whole bunch of them, and it would kind of hold that shape that you manipulated with your hands. I'm going to add 2 more rounds onto this, so it will make it a little bit larger and it will further define the shape that I want. So for round 5 it's going to be very similar to round 4, so we're going to put clusters in the points, and it's going to actually go in that chain 1 space in the points. So cluster in the points. I'm going to skip a stitch right before and right after the points here. So right here at the base of this cluster is where I'm going to skip a stitch. I'm also going to put 1 single crochet in the 3 stitches along the sides. The only difference between round 4 and round 5 really is we're going to be working up the sides of these points. Now we didn't have that on round 4 because we were just dealing with a round shape, but now we have to go up, sort of travel up the sides of these little baby points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease 1 stitch on either side of the points, and that will give a nice slopey point to these shapes. So I'm going to, let me just overview what we're going to do. We're going to skip a stitch right here at the base of the point. I'm going to decrease here, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Then right here in the chain 1 space at the point of this little bump, I'm going to put another cluster. So that's going to cluster right here. Then coming down the side, I'm going to decrease a stitch, and then right here at the base, I'm going to skip a stitch. Then working along this side, just like we did in round 4, we're going to put 1 single crochet in the 3 stitches here, and that will bring us to point number 2, and we're going to do the same thing. Skip a stitch at the base, decrease a stitch going up the side, cluster in the point, decrease a stitch going down the side, skip a stitch at the base, and then 1 single crochet in the 3 stitches on the side, and that will bring us to point 3, and we'll do the same thing all the way around. Okay, so for round 5, I'm going to start by chaining 1 to give the right height. Now working up the front side of the first peak, you have 3 stitches, and these are the 3 stitches from your cluster. You have your single crochet, your half double crochet, and your double crochet. And over these 3 stitches, we're going to skip the first stitch. Like I said, we're going to skip at the base on either side of the cluster. So we'll skip the first stitch, and then the second and the third stitch is where we're going to do the decrease. So we're going to turn the second and the third stitch into 1 stitch. So to decrease, we're going to do a single crochet 2 together. So I'll show you how to do that. But this stitch right here will skip. In the next stitch, we're going to start our single crochet 2 together. So to do that, you're going to insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And so far that's the beginning of a single crochet, but we're not going to finish the single crochet. We're going to stop right there and leave it incomplete. We're going to go to the next stitch, we're going to insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop, like we're starting another single crochet. So right now we have 2 incomplete single crochets on our hook. So to finish them off and to also join 2 stitches into 1, all we have to do is yarn over and pull through all of the loops on the hook. So now that just turns 2 stitches into 1. Okay, so we skipped a stitch, we single crochet 2 together. Now we're at the peak of the point, and right here in this chain 1 space, we're going to put our cluster, and it's the same cluster we did on the row before. So single crochet, half double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, all in this space. So I'm going to do it sort of quickly since we went over it before. So I'm going to do single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, half double crochet, and a single crochet. Okay, so that's your cluster made. Now we're going to work down the side, the back side of the point here. And like I said, whenever you have these clusters, they kind of want to fall over your stitches, so make sure you're not missing your stitch. You should have 3 stitches down the back side. Your double crochet, which is kind of hidden, let me see if I can show you. It's right there. So you have your double crochet, then your half double crochet, and then your single crochet. So the double crochet is basically under these stitches, your half double crochet, and your single crochet. So going down the back side, we're going to mirror what we did up the front side. So I'm going to do a single crochet 2 together. So insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. The next stitch we're going to skip. And now we're along the side. So the next 3 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch, single crochet into this stitch, and the next stitch, and the next stitch. Okay, so that is your first point and your first side complete. Okay, so you just do the same thing for 2, 3, and 4. So I'll go over point 2, and I'll go a little bit faster, and then I'll do 3 and 4 on my own. Okay. So the first stitch we're going to skip. The second and the third stitch we're going to do our single crochet 2 together. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. In this next chain 1 space, we're going to put our cluster. Single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet. Now going down the back side, you want to make sure you're pulling those stitches up to expose that hidden stitch. And it's a little tight. We're going to do our single crochet 2 together. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Skip a stitch at the base on the other side of the point. Then in the next 3 stitches, put 1 single crochet in each stitch. Okay, so that's point 1 and point 2. I'm going to do point 3 and 4, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, I finished my 3rd and my 4th points, and now to finish this round, I'm just going to slip stitch into the beginning chain 1 just to join the round. And again, you could stop here if you wanted, if this was the size that you wanted it, but I'm going to put 1 more round, and it's going to be very similar to the round before. So cluster in the points, skip a stitch on either side of the base of the points. I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the 3 stitches, 1 single crochet in each stitch on the 3 stitches on the side. And I'm also going to do my decrease on either side, going up the side of the point. The only difference is now instead of 3 stitches down this side on either side, there's 4 stitches because you have the 3 stitches from your cluster plus your double crochet or single crochet 2 together. So you have 4 stitches going down the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip a stitch, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then over the last 2 stitches we'll do that single crochet 2 together decrease. And then do the same thing on the other side. So the mirror image, single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next stitch, skip the next stitch, and then we'll do the 3 single crochets for the sides. Alright, so let me show you that step by step. I'm going to chain 1 just to get the height of a single crochet to start out with. I'm going to skip the first stitch. In the next stitch, I'm going to just put a single crochet. In the next 2 stitches, I'm going to do my single crochet 2 together. And then in the point, I'm going to do my cluster. So single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet. Okay, then make sure you pull those back to expose that stitch that's going to be covered. That's going to be the first part of the single crochet 2 together. So that's your single crochet 2 together. I'm going to put a single crochet in the next stitch. Just working way down the back side. Now this stitch I'm going to skip, and these are the 3 stitches for the side. So 1, 2, 3. And that's what your point looks like. So I'm just going to do the same thing for 2, 3, and 4. So I'll just show you again quickly, going sort of real speed. I'm going to skip a stitch, then in the next stitch I'm going to single crochet, and in the next stitch I'm going to single crochet 2 together. In the next chain 1 space I'm going to put my cluster, then going down the back side, making sure to expose that first stitch, I'm going to do my single crochet 2 together. Next stitch I will put a single crochet, skip a stitch, then put the 3 stitches, 1 in each stitch going down the sides between the points. And that's point number 2. So you can see how it's, with each subsequent round, it's getting sort of slopier and slopier, which is kind of the signature shape of the diamond, is kind of a deep swoop there. Okay, so I'm going to just finish up my last 2 points, and then I will show you really simple how to finish it off. Okay, so I finished my points 3 and 4, and now, just like all the other rounds, I'm just going to slip stitch in that beginning chain 1 to finish the round. And then I always end up my projects by doing one last chain, pulling a big loop, and then cutting it, and just kind of tighten down that last chain just to keep all of your stitches in place. And then all you have to do now is hide your ends. So I'm going to use my blunt tapestry needle, just thread the tail on there, and then this is sort of, you kind of make it up as you go along. Different people have different sort of theories on how they want to do it. Basically, I just hide the ends going a couple different directions, and you want to kind of do it in a sort of random pattern so it won't pull out. And depending on how much wear the object's going to get, you'll want to like hide a lot more than this. For these, they're just going to basically sit there and look pretty, so I'm just going to do a couple passes. And I just need to do the same thing with the other end. I'll go a little bit here, kind of go back through some different stitches, going back the way I came, and then maybe a few more stitches this direction. Then just clip your tail short. And then from here, depending on the kind of yarn, you might need to block it. I like acrylic yarns because you don't really need to block them. You can kind of shape them with your hands. I'm going to take those points and pull them up nice and pointy, and kind of do opposite ones across from each other so that they are like compass points, north, south, east, and west. And that's how you make the Tetracuspid Hypocycloid. Alright guys, I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial for this Tetracuspid Hypocycloid. If you make this project, you can always leave some photos on my Facebook page. I love to see your finished objects. Or you can leave me some comments down below. I'd love to know what you're going to use these little stars for. I had originally made mine as coasters. I gave to my dad for, I think it was for Father's Day or for his birthday, I can't remember. But they were a lot of fun and he really liked them. So if you're using them for something else, I'd love to hear about it. So leave me some comments down below. Give my video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, and thank you so much for watching.